Hey YouTube. So, Halloween 4 saw the return of Michael Myers after the third Halloween kind of failed at the box office because originally the plan was for John Carpenter to do a series of Halloween movies, each with an individual story, and not have anything to do with Michael Myers at all. And I really loved Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, but most audiences weren't happy with the idea of having a Halloween movie without Michael Myers. So came about Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Now, this is the first Halloween movie since the first three to not have John Carpenter involved at all in any capacity. And it's it's set 10 years after the events of Halloween 2, and it picks up where it turns out Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers survived the explosion at the end of Halloween 2, leaving them both extremely burned and scarred, and even Michael is in a supposed comatose state. But they go to move him, and he finds out that he has a niece, and that wakes him right up because he's got a thing for killing his family. And this movie has a lot of entertaining elements to it. Now, I don't think it's particularly scary. It doesn't reach the heights of the original at all. And the movie's biggest sin to me is the mask. How do you mess up the mask? It looks so bad. It looks clean. It looks cheap. That's the two worst things right there. It looks cheap and clean. It's just like the original mask worked because I mean, yeah, it's a blank slate, but it looked so menacing. And the mask he wears in part 4 looks like something, I don't know, like a cheap kids Halloween mask. It's like at my local Halloween store, there are Michael Myers masks for $70 that look better than the one they had for this movie. And you're telling me that they didn't have the budget to do it? I mean, come on. And that's like the most distracting part of the movie for me, is because like you have this guy that is supposed to be super scary, and before he gets the mask, it's a little haunting to see him with his head all wrapped up in bandages, because I mean his eyes are covered, his entire facial features are covered after he escapes from being transferred. And I love that initial confrontation when Loomis figures out that Michael has once again escaped, and that they have this moment at a gas station, and the two of them are facing off, and Loomis drops his cane because he's got a limp from being injured in the explosion, and it sort of symbolizes for the character that he's ready to go back into action. He's ready to face off with Michael Myers once again, and Michael's standing across the room, and he's just still, and his face is completely covered up by the bandages. And to me, that version of the character in this movie was more frightening than him putting on the mask later. I mean, him getting the mask should be a very iconic moment, but it just kind of looks silly. It just looks bad. And there's even a moment in the movie where Loomis and the sheriff think that they're seeing multiple Michael Myers because there's these kids playing a prank on them, and there's three of them standing at opposite ends, and one of the kids has a better Michael Myers mask than Michael Myers himself. And I'm just like, what were you guys thinking? Besides some of the pacing issues, and a lot of the side characters aren't great. They're very stereotypical teenagers, almost reaching Friday the 13th level, where all they're thinking about is how can I get laid tonight. But the two main characters, Rachel and then Jamie Lloyd, played brilliantly by Danielle Harris. This is one of the best child performances that I've seen in a horror movie. She's very, very good, and I absolutely love her in this movie and in Halloween 5. She's very, very convincing, and it's just heartbreaking because she's the daughter of Laurie Strode, who apparently died in a car crash not too long before the events of this movie. and you just see this kid is just kind of broken, and she knows that she's not exactly normal because, I mean, the kids at the school even pointed out, and man, these kids are mean. Jamie's uncle is the boogeyman. Every day is Halloween at Jamie's house, and it's like these kids are awful. That's like one of the cringiest and most saddest parts of the movie, is because I don't think even kids could be that horrible to, make fun of her for being an orphan. Kids are the worst sometimes. But man, she is really good in this role, and it's her first role, and the actress that plays Rachel does a good job too. She's the older sister, and she kind of goes through the same arc that Laurie Strode goes through in the first Halloween, to maybe a lesser and not quite as effective extent, but it's good nonetheless. And the movie starts, and all she's worried about is her date with her boyfriend, and she realizes that she sort of has this more bigger responsibility to this little girl who very much needs her. And especially at the end of the movie, when Michael Myers starts coming out after them, she literally carries Jamie on her back and across a roof, and puts Jamie's life before hers several times in the movie. Absolutely just loved the characters of Rachel and Jamie Lloyd. But there's a lot of laughable moments in this movie. I mean, it's a fun, harmless, entertaining Halloween movie. It's something that you can marathon with the rest of them, and it doesn't like shit all over the series. It's good and it's entertaining. There's one of my favorite things about the movie is the rednecks. It's like when the police force gets taken out by Michael, the rednecks, man, they step up. They start going around town hunting for Michael Myers, and it goes about as well as you would think it does. A lot of stupid mistakes end up happening, but they do end up facing off with Michael at the end of the movie, and that's extremely entertaining. There's a great car chase that I really love. There's a lot of really good moments in this movie that are entertaining, and they're cool to watch. I mean, there's decent action in this movie, that's for sure, but it's not perfect by any means. The side characters, none of them are particularly memorable, besides the rednecks, of course. The directing isn't anything special. There are moments where there's really good, there's decent shots, but it doesn't, it's nothing compared to what John Carpenter did with the original. It doesn't have the creepy atmosphere that the first three movies have, and that's just, it just leaves it at an okay movie. And I think if Donald Pleasance wasn't in it, it would be extremely mediocre, because once again, and I'll repeat this all the way from shouting it to the stars, Donald Pleasance is great as this character. He's got an urgency, and like I said, that moment when he realizes, man, I've got to face off with Michael Myers again, is just, I don't know, he just plays it so well. I mean, he's a masterclass actor, and he really brings it to this role, and I respect the fact that he always played it seriously no matter what the quality of the movie was, and that he always brought this weight to the role. And really, I mean, even the moments where the movie kind of lets him down, he never lets us, the audience, down. And I'm so glad that he was in this movie and a lot of the other ones too, because it just wouldn't be the same without him. So comment below, let me know what your thoughts on Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers is. What's your favorite moment in the movie? How do you think it matches up to the previous three? Am I the only one that thinks the mask looks stupid in this movie? Comment below, let me know. And if you like what you see here, subscribe and check out my channel to see more. Bye.